him and play a little bit. Got his dog in the back seat. Big dog, Jesus, the size of that dog's fucking head. It's bigger than his head. Bob, I'm passing. You said to let you know. I'll let you know. I think we're catching up to a Prius. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a Dodge Dart. The mighty Dodge Dart. Or is it... No, it's a Prius. My first impression was right. Brand new one, because that's the new body style. They're trying to make them look like... What's the word I use? I don't want to get censored by... They're making it look less like you enjoy the company of other men. Yes. Well, I don't even want to say that word. I just, you know, if you're a man who would more prefer the company of other men, then the old Prius, I feel, would apply to you or appeal to you. Maybe not as much as other men, but it would still appeal to you. This one, they actually tried to make it look a little nicer. I'll give them that. That doesn't look that bad. Trying to make it look a little sporty. The old one looked like a shrinky-dink. Like, it was just the weird angles. It looked like a shrinky-dink version of like the Pontiac Aztec. Like you just shrunk it down. Okay. I believe the Pontiac Aztec. All right, we're gonna pass. And I just ran over a bird. The Pontiac Aztec, I thought I read somewhere that J.D. Powers and Associates had that down as like one of the worst automotive inventions or creations from like the last century. And they said it was interesting because on paper, here's the difference between concept and reality. On paper, it had everything that people polled said they cared about. They wanted it to have ample horsepower, so they had it offered in the 3.8 liter V6, right? They wanted all-wheel drive. They wanted a good visibility out of it. They wanted so much seating. They wanted ground clearance. They wanted cubbies and pockets and towing capacity. Like on paper, they literally like handed it to the engine, and this is probably what they did. Exactly. No creative, no marketing, just said, here, engineers built this. And they did a phenomenal job of building whatever was on that spec sheet. And then the reality was, it was absolutely horrible. The only reason anybody even knows and remembers the Aztec was because that was the only car that perfectly fit the situation in Breaking Bad. You know, it was just a horrible thing. But that's the difference in, you know, there's Apple, which is form over function. And then there's too far the other way, which is function over form. I think the Prius was a little bit that way. It just looked stupid. You didn't want to be seen in it. Unless you looked past the actual aesthetics and you said, you know what? I do want to be seen as an environmentalist. I want to show everybody that I care. Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have a type. All right, Bobby, pull up a little bit more. You got good tires, you got ABS, and you got traction control. So let's pick up the pace just a little bit, There's a branch, little one. Yeah, then the road keeps getting wet. That's the only problem. So Bob, what do you think about the Supreme Court rulings this week? They outlawed, basically banned racist, anti-Asian college admittance practice. Yeah. I'm passing, Bob, just so you know. I'll sit behind that clown. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you know, I look at that and I saw all the liberals screaming the racist Supreme Court, it's like, wait a minute. There was a guy, a very, I think, pretty well known in his day, who said he had a dream of living in a world where people were judged by the content of their character and not by their skin color. Yeah. And so now you have the liberals that claim to support him and be on the same team saying, wait, yeah. It really is asinine to take the stance that the Supreme Court did exactly what they should have. If you've got Asian kids that are working their ass off, have a good work ethic, they study, maybe they got higher IQs. I think it's a combination of good genetics and a good upbringing, and it's a cultural thing, and they've got scores that are 500 points higher than other people, but the school's like, no, we got too many Asians, we need a couple more gay people, and we need some blacks, and we need that. They're like, what the fuck? It's like, I earned the right to be here. It's like, if you had a, it's like if you had a, what would be an example? Well, let's say you have a sports ball team. And I know nothing about sports, so all sports are sports ball. So if you got a sports ball team, yeah, right. So you got a sports ball team, and this team scores 5 touchdowns, and the other one scores 3. But you're like, well, you guys are a predominantly white team, and you've won too many games. So even though you actually scored more points, you got more goals, you got more home runs, whatever. We're going to give the win to this other team because they're black or they're Hispanic. And you're like, I earned that. Like, what are you talking about? Right. That's a very good point, because in sports it's always, well, it's supposed to be about who is right. That's a very good point. So look, because so the people that can't hear you talk, so I'll paraphrase here. So his point, which is a very good one, is, Charles Barkley talking about, affirmative action, and, he's kind of against this court ruling. And I don't have a problem with Charles Barkley. Actually, he's been kind of conservative on a bunch of things. But the point is, if the premise that we were sold, the whole reason of affirmative action, which was, I think, signed by Kennedy in '61, was that if your hiring practices are such that the composition of your company doesn't sort of reflect the population in that area. If you have an area that's 50-50 black and white, and you only got 3% black people in your company, their assumption was the reason for that is because you decided not to hire black people. So they came up with affirmative action and quotas and all these things to make sure that your population of your school or your company is within reason representative of the demographics of, the people that live or are in or around that. Well, yeah. So to his point, okay, when you go to basketball, it's what, 7% white people? Like, black people are 13% of the population. So if we said, look, there's way too, I'm sorry, LeBron, you're awesome, and you've earned the right to be where you are, but we just got too many black guys. So, hey, does anyone have a Korean? Can we get someone Persian or what? It's like nobody would do that in sports because the argument would be, well, I don't care about color. I want the people that are best qualified for the job. At which point, people like Bob and I are like, yeah, exactly. You hire the best person for the job, and what color they are shouldn't matter. And these athletes are coming out talking about how bad this is about the college thing, and it's like, you wouldn't live by the same standards in your own sport. The way that you make your living, you're being very selective in the application of your beliefs, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's just whatever. You want to win championships, put the best goddamn people on your team that you can. And if they happen to be all black or all white, who gives a shit? You know, you try out for the team and you either make the cut or you don't. And so putting race ahead in an effort, like a lot of things, you look at unions, you look at a lot of things that are like Democrat institutions. On paper, originally, there was some sense to it. There was a need for unions at the time. There, a lot of things, there was racism, and especially in the South, there was segregation. There was things that had to be overcome, and so they wanted to help level the playing field. The sentiments, I think, were solid. I think the logic at the time made sense, but like a lot of these things, they morph and warp and distort and become something completely different over the years, and they end up being, in often cases, the opposite of what they were chartered to do. And this is one of those things. It's like if you're hiring sales reps to sell software, what do you? And the best candidates are Asian and black. Are you going to go, nope, I only want whites? Oh, really? Okay, so you want to make half the commissions? You want to grow the company half as much? You don't want your stock price to grow? Just so that you can surround yourself with white people? Like, who the fuck would do that? Nobody. And the kind of people that would do that are probably shitty business owners, and their business is going to fail anyway, because of that type of leadership. So I think it would be a non-issue. I'll tell you so I agree with the Supreme Court. I agreed with them on the whole abortion thing. Not because I'm pro-life, I'm not, I'm actually pro-choice, but the argument, which was what Ruth Bader Ginsburg warned us about many times over the years, was the premise that, if you want to pass a law that says, hey, we're going to allow abortions, Congress can do that. But if you're using a Supreme Court ruling, and the ruling was, it's a federally protected constitutional right, but you can't point to anywhere in the Constitution where it actually exists. She was like, that's the problem. She's like, I believe it should be pro-choice, but if your argument to protect it is that argument, that's an argument that will not hold up over time. At some point, someone's going to challenge it, and they're going to look at it and go, regardless of the stance, it's a shit argument. And then, go ahead. Yeah, being pro-choice doesn't, people think that means, oh, you're just pro-abortion. No, you're pro the choice of making an abortion, but you do hope that people would make better choices and wear a fucking rubber and, you know what I mean? Take some goddamn precautions, and so to minimize it, because you're killing, was it 80,000 babies a year? Most of them are black. And when you look at the origins of Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger, who was a eugenist and a raving racist against black people, and saw Planned Parenthood and abortions as a way to reduce the black population, now and then you look at the Democrats and, come on, Bob, you got power to pass. Drop a gear, grip it and rip it. You get comfortable, mister. It's not. It's a 660. It's not going to like get away from you. There's a lot of smoke. I don't know if you're going to have emphysema by the time you get to the top of the goddamn hill. I don't think it's a diesel. What's the model number on the trunk? Not a 300D? No, so it's just a C300? Yeah. Yeah, it's 4MATIC. It's a 4-wheel drive, so yeah, that's not diesel. Yeah, it's either got a sensor out so the mixture's off, or it's burning oil. It didn't smell like oil, but I don't know. Anyway, so then the other Supreme Court ruling that came out this week, and this one I'm going to take a contrary stance, was the whole they sided with the web designer who didn't want to design a gay website. And they couldn't be forced to because of their faith. I'm kind of torn on that one because I don't think anybody should be able to be forced to do business with someone they don't want. But you should just let the market handle it, free market, okay. But we do have laws against discrimination. We say, look, you can't not hire someone, or you can't kick a gay couple out. You can't put a sign in your window that says no Japanese, no gays, no women, no Jews. So it's like the laws for discrimination, and sexual orientation is one of them. If you can't hire and fire and discriminate elsewhere in the corporate world, why, like, to me, it's like protect everyone equally or don't protect anyone and just let the free market settle it. Right, but okay, so you're why would it be okay to force someone to do business that goes against their core beliefs? Go to what? Well, it is, but here, you're forcing someone to do something against their will. I get that. However, if there are people that don't believe in serving black people, they don't want to deal with Muslims, why is it different? Why is the sexual orientation, why is selling a cake or doing a website for Well, not that. All right, I believe that's where you're wrong. So that's where we're going to disagree. So Bob says you're not born gay. I think absolutely there are absolutely people. It's a birth defect in a way, because it's a flawed libido. You're attracted to your own sex, which does occur in nature, but it doesn't mean it's normal. If it was the dominant trait, we wouldn't have reproduction. You're right, but. Okay, if someone's born without arms, you don't go, they're not a person. You know, you're born, right, but you are born gay. I don't think someone goes, you know what, I'm just going to decide to be gay. Like, nah, not the majority. No, I wouldn't agree to that. That's where we're going to disagree here, Bob. There's, when you're talking about sexual attraction, it's not just that, it's when you're talking about getting aroused, could you make yourself get aroused over a guy? I mean, honestly, like, yeah, we'll pull over and find out, yeah. No, but I mean, like, if you look at another guy and the idea repulses you, it's chemical, it's biological. When you look at a beautiful woman, you look at a whoever, Keira Knightley or whoever, you don't have to think, oh, I'm a man, she's a woman, therefore the protocol is, you see someone and you're like, oh, I'm sporting a semi here. It's automatic. It's coded into you. And when you see two dudes getting it on, you're like, ew, it's coded into you. Well, why would that be any different for guys? I don't think that you learn it. There's kids that are 5 years old. They don't even have a concept of sexuality yet. And you can tell they're going to go down this path in life. There's something about them that you can just tell. I don't know. Yeah, I saw that yesterday. That's where I'm kind of like, I really don't think you could just say, you learned to be gay. Well, I don't know that there's science to prove it. How do you? Well, but science doesn't. Yeah, but science doesn't answer everything. All right, so let's say you are looking at. Well, there are certain disorders where you'd look at and go, that exists, even if there's not a specific gene or marker for it. I don't know that there's a gay gene. Maybe there is and we haven't found it. I don't know. But you look at someone with no eyes and you'd go, well, their DNA is normal. If I ran a DNA test, it wouldn't say anything necessarily. But clearly they don't have eyes. There's clearly something going on with them. Being gay or trans absolutely would have to be classified as a biological disorder or defect. We don't want to call it that because then you got the stigma, which is why the DSM-5 removed the word, trans being a disorder to something else because they wanted to reduce the stigma. The list of all the official medical diagnoses. That's the current one. I think they're on the DSM-5 right now. Yeah, I think you're born gay, and there's guys that try living a straight life and they'll try to be normal. Was that? I was not born gay. You're gay. But, they may try to live a life because of their Christian beliefs and they don't want to disappoint their parents and stuff, but it's like, yeah, you just like, you're like, dude, just come out of the closet. You'll probably be happier. It's not the 1950s anymore, Yeah, that's true. But there, it's like, if you refuse service, you don't want to bake a cake, you don't want to serve them in your restaurant, you don't want to make them a website, you don't want to make wedding invitations. If you said, no, I'm a strong Christian and I don't believe in Judaism or Muslim or this or that, you would be in trouble for discriminating. And I'm saying I get that, but when you look at the I'm sure that there are people that go out there, but whether they go out to sue intentionally or to cause trouble, they're an activist, it doesn't matter. When you get into court, if you have a set of laws that says, look, you can't refuse to do business because they're Jewish or they're women or they're Asian, but it's okay to still, discriminate against the fags. Like that doesn't make any sense. I understand it. But it is, okay, so when someone comes to you and says, I want a Jewish-themed cake, and you're saying, well, all right, let me try and paraphrase this for the audience. You're saying they can't be compelled to do an action. They're opposing the participating of an action. But it's still, the building of a website, in this case, is the action. You're typing in HTML code. It's not an action. You're not being gay by typing in code on a gay website. You're not going to catch the gay. I'm almost positive. again, but a business can, okay. Because you're saying that no, it's not, it's an action, but the action is based at different, a gun is not a protect, all right, so saying, well, Bob's referring to PayPal, terminating people's accounts for using PayPal to pay for guns. If they say, look, we don't want to be in the paying for gun business, especially because these are private transactions, which aren't monitored, and blah, 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 and even though they're legal, we don't want to be getting embroiled because a gangbanger buys a gun, it was paid for by PayPal, and they discover that while they're, doing the investigation and tracing the money and stuff, and now they're in there for facilitating, whatever. So they say, as a company, we don't want to do this. I think it's dumb, but that is purely an act. If they said, well, we're going to support gun transactions, but not for black people. That's the difference. That's where you go from it being a participating in an action to it being directly tied to and correlated. So, and again, so being gay is a thing. That's what I think. That's why I think you're getting it wrong. So is a black wedding, and if you refuse service to a black wedding, it's still an act. It's a wedding. Physically building a cake and going, because they can't. No, people. That's my look. I think people should be able to refuse service to anybody for any reason, and let the damn market figure it out. But while we do have anti-discrimination laws, I think that while they do have anti-discrimination laws, you can't say, look, it applies, you can't discriminate against anybody except the gays, then it's okay. The law should either protect everybody equally or don't protect anybody, and if you get bad Yelps and bad press and your business goes under because you're being discriminatory, then that's the market settling it. My problem is this: it's okay to discriminate. You can't discriminate against anybody except that one group. I think that is pretty shitty. And if you're gay and if you substituted gay for any other group, Asian. Well, Muslims is a whole different thing. Here, we just protest and have a big... They blow shit, because they cut off heads and blow shit up. People are more afraid of Muslim backlash because if it's the radical part, they blow shit up and cut people's heads, and they throw gay people off of roofs. I don't know. I see a couple cars. It says open. We're going to sit sideways. Oh, but open hours. All right, well, fuck me. Yeah, where do you want to go? Was it that way? All right, let's go that way then. Everything's... I think that the validity of your argument would hinge on the fact that, well, being gay is more of an action and a choice, and I don't think it is. I mean, you can choose not to act on it, just so you can choose to be asexual and not have sex with a woman, but your biology and what you're attracted to happens at a caveman. That is a chemical reaction. You see a beautiful woman and you're going, it's like, oh, you don't think about it. You don't have to go, this is normal. It just, your body takes over and just does what it was programmed to do. And a gay guy's reaction is every bit the same. There's no difference. It's flawed in that, as far as evolution's concerned, it's a deviation from what nature cares about, which is continuation of the species. But I just think you can't just discriminate against it. Again, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but the law should protect everyone equally, or it shouldn't protect anybody, and you just say, look, it's a free market, and let the market sort it out. I know, but if a redneck bakery and a black couple in the South walked in and they said, we don't do black weddings, but that's how it would happen. If they said we don't serve blacks or we don't serve Jews, they would immediately, everybody would be up in arms. That's racist, that's this, that's that. Okay, you're not supposed to discriminate, okay. Oh wait, it was a gay couple? Oh yeah, fuck them, you can discriminate all day. Like, that doesn't seem right to me. I know, and it's okay. Notice the difference here. We're two conservatives disagreeing about something, and it's okay. I'm not going to try to get you canceled, Bob. Yeah, you've already canceled me, I'm sure. Yeah, like, screw that guy. Dave's garage is going to be shut down tonight. Being gay, it ain't the dark ages anymore. Being gay is not a lifestyle. any more than being hetero is. Because it's not. The cat. No, hold on. It's not a lifestyle any more than yours or my heterosexuality is a lifestyle. It's just who you are. And again. Listen, we'll settle this one once and for all. Bob, put on your goddamn, cruise control. Yeah, put your cruise control on. Oh, all right, well then I win this argument. You don't have cruise control. Wah, wah. It does seem like a weird thing to have, not to be missing on a touring bike. And I got a naked hooligan bike. Yeah, but I mean, I got a naked hooligan bike. It's like, why does this need it? How many people are going on trips on this? Anyway, so I agree with the Supreme Court on the one, and I'm on the fence. I'm just trying to see both sides. There's no two sides to the whole getting rid of racism from college entrance, and this will spread into other stuff now that it's setting precedent. You know, you should win or lose or get in or not get in or get the job or don't get the job based on your merits. You either earned your right at the table to sit at the table or you didn't. And it was clearly that Asians were being discriminated against. You're like, I got the highest scores here, and you're telling me I didn't get in? And some guy who got a 980 on his SATs, he got in, and my 1600 wasn't good enough? Like, that was outright racist. There's no two sides to that, really. But this other one, I can see the argument to just let the free market sort it out and do business with whoever you want for whatever reason. And that's where I think you should just get rid of the discrimination laws. And the businesses that have good ethics and do the right things should be successful. And the ones that are scumbags and exclusionary probably won't make it. And the market will sort itself out and the government doesn't need to be involved, right? But it doesn't seem right. Yeah, or not. I mean, I think the market would probably sort itself out. I'm a free market capitalist. I think it should be minimalist government involvement. But if you're going to have the law in the books, I don't see where you should be able to just say, well, we're going to protect these guys over here, but not them. It's like, come on. All or nothing, baby. And I'm fine with nothing. I'm okay with nothing and getting rid of discrimination laws. All right, almost. So, I got my cruise control set for 59, 58. There he is. Yeah, that's where he usually hides. I'm sure 58's fine for this part of the road, right? I don't have to outrun the cop. I just got to outrun you. It's like I'm running from a bear. You don't have to outrun the bear. You just got to outrun your fat friend. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another one? Really? For reals? Alright, well, what's the speed limit? Alright. Yeah, I'm at 57 now. Yeah. So there was that going on. Anything else interesting in the news this week, Bob? Biden, any more stuff from Hunter Biden? Can't think of anything this week. It does seem a bit crazy that Trump's basically guilty of returning a library book late. He's got procedural, it's procedural stuff that, okay, but could face up to 3 centuries in jail for returning paperwork that you were allowed to have in the first place, but returning it late, and oh, it's obstruction, is it? Yeah. Very. It is a bit crazy. You look at all the shit you look at the things that the Bidens have done, and the money movement, all kinds of stuff, and you're like, there's something there. Where are we going from here? We got to get something to eat. Straight. All right. There's our cop. Damn. Did you want to go up to Babyland, the Cabbage Patch place? Dude, you and I could go. Oh, Cameron would be so jealous if you and I went. If you and I went and got a whatchamacallit, Cabbage Patch together. We could adopt a little Cabbage Patch child. Are they still Cabbage Patch? Yeah, it is Cabbage Patch Kids. So. Ooh, it's hot once we stop moving. I would like some land. It's good to own land, Bob. Like I said, I want to set up a compound. I want to sort of put a moat around it, filled with sharks with frickin' laser beams. Unfortunately, we'll only have Chilean sea bass. That's what I want to do, get some land at some point and just use it for shooting and goofing around and stuff. There you go. And then retire to it. When we go to retire, maybe we get $800,000 or something for our house. And then spend half that to buy all new cars, build a new house on the property, all new appliances, so we go into retirement with nothing. I don't need to worry about a roof for 30 years. I don't need to worry about air conditioning. Yeah, and you got some money. We've been maxing out, even Social Security alone, we've been maxing that out. We'd probably get about $7,000 a month just from that. I think mine, if I retire at 67, I get like $3,800 a month or something, which is not a lot of money. But between the two of us and 401k and whatever money left over from the sale, you know what I mean? If you don't have any bills, if you have a new car, this is the last cars you're ever going to drive, because by the time the car needs to be replaced, you probably lose, giving up your license anyway. I think like we could do pretty well if you don't have any bills really, other than food and insurance and gas. Hookers, weed, whatever. to Circle K. I know there's like Burger King and Zaxby's and shit up here. I'm fine with Burger King. I've heard tell I could get a Whopper, but I can get it my way, if that makes a difference. Corporate fast food. All right, let's go around the circle here. Ugh. Papa John's is the worst fucking pizza, dude. Ugh. It's great if you're constipated. You're like, I need to flush the system. I need to back flush the system. Give me some Papa John's. So do we? Yeah, we have to yield. Wherever we go, better have some goddamn air conditioning. I'm fine with Clyde's. Okay. I'm gonna go all the way up here. Bonk. Clyde's Table and Tavern. Yeah, like I got a little bit of boogering on my tires. And we didn't get to get a lot of track time. It sucked. Really, people are tired. Like, sometimes track days suck. Deal with it. But it was like, man, I had such high hopes. I got my shock. I got my suspension all upgraded. I was like, man, here's my time to shine. Want. Nothing. All right, we'll be back later. Maybe. If not, have a great day.